webinar, so I'm sure that I will have questions. You will have questions actually, and I'll have time to answer everybody's question. So let's just get started. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log in. So once I'm logging, the first one I'm going to talk about is basically um, class type. So on the upper right hand corner, if you go to settings, you will see class type, which is near the center of the screen. And class type really is an easy way for you to reduce data entry. So if you have an Ashtanga class, Vinyasa class, um, a hot yoga class, regardless, and you find yourself uh, needing to fix or edit the description or making changes to that class, and then you have to go ahead and do it to every single one of your class. Uh, this new feature allow you to create a class type. So for example, I'm just gonna say Vinyasa class. This is the description of the Vinyasa class. Okay, you could assign it a color. If you want to do that, you could also assign it an image. And color and image will show up when you embed this class on your website. It also will show up on the app. So it's a good way if you want to categorize classes in terms of heated classes, non-heated classes, and so on. If you really want to make your classes stand out on the app when it comes out, a nice image is great. Those two are optional. Right? So remember that though, if you select an image, every time you select a class type, that image will also be added to the class. So for example, so I define a class type. Let me just go and define a new one. So let's call this one hot yoga. All right. Hot yoga classes. Again, save it. So we have two class type. So now when you're creating your class, if you go to this calendar and you go to your edit class schedule, and we are going to create a new class. So rather than entering a name and a description and uploading an image for each individual class, you could simply select use class type and then select your class type. So if I select the Vinyasa class, notice the description's automatically updated. If I change that to the hot yoga class, the description is automatically updated for you. So what that means is that if you needed to change the description for a class rather than editing every single class, you could simply go to class type. Okay, yeah, and then click on it for level 2, and then all your class description that's associated with the class type will change to that. So it's a really a good time saver and a really good way of just kind of creating class type, assigning colors to it, and so on. So if you have any questions about class type, I'll be more than happy to answer them now. Yes, so in class type, yes, yeah, you could add an image. I'm not sure if I have a ready image, but to add an image, you could just select file and then pick an image off your desktop. So I don't think I have anything on my desktop. That's easy. But you could just pick an image off your desktop and that will, yeah, that will load the image and store the image. A few more questions. No, you don't need to add this, you don't have to have the add-ons. So I guess what that means is that we do have, an add-on for image storage, but This is included with the basic version of Commercesoft. And this is the same thing with product. It's considered the same as product images and staff images and so on. You could just kind of import an image and have it load for you. Let me see. And yes, if you go in and change the color for a particular class type, it will change the color for all the classes within that type. Okay, so we are going into the next item for today. I want to talk about is product category. So again, you'll find that in settings into product category. So product categories is really does two things for you. It allows you to, when you embed your store, if you wanted to embed your store and show just the specific categories of classes, you could do that. But it also allows you to do reports. So again, product categories, to create a product categories, you would go to setting, product categories, and then click new. Right? And then you could say, I don't know, let's say shorts. I'm not sure if I have one already. And you have to pick what we call a cost bucket. A cost bucket is like a general ledger account. So it's a place where you want to put all the sales for that, all the products within that category. So for example, I would put it under sales and clothing. If you don't have that, you could look in the help section on the product category. I think there's a description, and you could also go ahead and create different account and account type under settings. I'm not going to cover that in depth today, but this is where they are. You could put a brief description, and once you're done, you could save it. Right. So now we have a product category called yoga shorts. So now when you look at activities and sales, right, you could look at sales by category. So what do I have? Yeah. So, you could look at sales by category. You could look at it by product. So for example, if I were to go into my products, right? And I'm going to pick 50 class card, and I am going to assign it a category so the UI change. Okay, so I'm going to change this category. So I'm going to change the category to the hot short. By changing the category, you are changing basically all the prior sales for this product are going to fall under the yoga short. So even though prior to making the change, everything for the 50 class card was under this birthday category for some reason, if you change it, everything prior to the change will also be moved to that category. So now if I were to save that, and I go to report, and I go to sales, and I'm looking at sales by category. Okay, let me see if I look at last year. Oops. Hold on a second. Oh, sorry. Let me look at all. So maybe I'm missing something here, but let me, you know what? Let's just do this. I am going to have, if I'm going to sell a 50 class card, let me sell it to myself. Okay, and I'm going to do it for cash just to make sure we have something under that category. I am going to double check on the product, make sure I save that 50 class card. It's under the yoga short category. Save it, and let's just do a report and see where we are. We want category. Okay, so the $500 is listed. So if I were to change that, just so you could see what I mean, with product, and I were to change the category, and let's say I'm going to change it to staff, and then make sure I save it. Okay, and go back and then do sales, and let's look at it by category. Okay, so notice that category is changed. So so this is product category. You could also embed. We have another webinar on embedding, and I'll go into that in depth. When you are embedding on your website, if you wanted to embed just a particular category, you would use the category ID. So in the code, you would put the category ID, and it will only show that ID. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about class category. And this one, I'll actually show it to you on the website because that's mainly the purpose. So as opposed product categories, you could use it for sales. Class category is used mainly as a way to segment your classes on your website. So for example, if you have kid classes or you have different type of classes and you wanted to have different schedule on your website for them, you are able to do that. So for example, if I look at this Squarespace site, just to kind of give you an example of what you could do with it. Okay, so I am going into classes. And so notice in classes, you have different categories of class, right? So you have your in-studio classes, your live stream classes, your self-practice classes. So if the user click on the in-studio classes, if you want to show them just the in-studio classes, so just these are just the in-studio classes, and you're not showing them the online classes. And the way to do that, and I will go over class category in a second, is if we look at the code for a second, there's a section that says, this section that says by lesson category is equal some number, okay? So I'm gonna cancel that and then go back to the main screen. So if you look at your class category, lesson categories or class categories, you will see different categories. And the question really is that where is that number that you want to use? We kind of hide this a little bit, but it's actually easy to find. If you click on the category you want, at the very top of the browser, you will see a section that says lesson categories /111. This is the number that you would use to segment your lessons or your classes on your website. As always, if you need help with website integration, we are here and available to help you with that. So don't worry if all this doesn't sink in right away. But this is where you would be able to change it. Again, creating a new class category, you simply have to click new and give it a name, a description. Account is basically, where do you want that to go in terms of your general ledger and categorizing it. You could change this all you want. I am just going to briefly show you where that is because it comes up a few times here. So if you go to setting, you'll see two things. One is called account type. Account type is basically expense, liability, income, that type of stuff. If you go into account, then this is where all your different general ledger accounts are, and you could add new one, take some away, and classify them. any way you like. So that's where we are. So any question regarding class categories? That's a great question. The question was, can you combine categories? I am not sure. Hold on a second. Sorry. So so I'm not sure what's happening here, but I will get back to you. I think you could add commas when you look at the code. So for example, if we look at the code, you could add commas for additional lesson category. And I'm not 100% sure, so I will send you an answer via email at the end of this, okay? Okay, so if there's no question in terms of class type, product categories, and lesson or class categories, I will move on to group. Group is the more complex option. Okay. So with groups is actually very important for the system because group impact your sign-in process. It does impact, how, if people are able to sign in for classes, it does impact what class a person could take, and so on. So in order to properly review groups, I am going to touch vaguely on class listing and products. Again, I'm not going to go in depth on those two, but it's really helpful for me to do that in order for you to have a decent understanding of groups. So groups are ways you could link pricing with classes and segment those pricing. So if I go ahead and go to setting and click on groups, you will notice that this is a demo, so we have a lot of groups. So normally, most studio has at most one or three group at most. So for example, the group most people will have, it could be like Zoom classes, regular yoga classes, video library, and that type of stuff. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to look at regular yoga classes. I'm also going to look at Zoom classes just to show you what I mean. So once you create your group, and again, the process is the same. You go to groups and you click new, and you just give it a name. And that name should be something that when you look at it, you know what it is and what it means. So once you have your group, one of the first things you want to do is make sure that in your class listing, so if I were to go to classes, edit classes, you will see that all my classes, in addition to being assigned to a branch, also are related to a group, right? So we have regular yoga classes, online classes, bar classes, Zoom classes, basic restorative yoga, Ashtanga primary series classes, and so on. So you cannot create a class without assigning it to a group. Again, like I said, some studios, because you only offer one type of product, and all your packages are, or maybe all your packages are good for all type of classes that you offer, then you don't need so many groups. And this is important to note. You don't want to create too many groups. So for example, if at your studio you're offering hatha yoga classes, right? You're offering, let's say, hot yoga classes. You're offering yin yoga classes. You are also offering, I don't know, like an Ashtanga class and also restorative class. However, your 10 class card or your monthly unlimited is good for all the type of classes you offer, in which case you don't need to create different group for these type of classes because they're all within the same pricing structure. And since they're all within the same pricing structure, you only need one group. So if I was doing that, I would just create a general group called yoga classes, and then that's the only one I would use. However, if, for example, you are offering in addition to the different type of yoga classes, you are also offering kids yoga, yeah, and you are also offering live stream yoga, and you are also offering, let's say, video on demand yoga. And you want people to have different packages, or you want to create combination packages for all these things. So for example, you offering in-house yoga, it doesn't matter if you're offering, hatha, vinyasa, yin, all that stuff in-house. So you would probably create a group called in-house, right? For your kids yoga, would you create a group called kids yoga, live stream, group called, Zoom, and video on demand, like a video library group. It just means that now you could create packages for each of those segments. Right, so you could have a 10 class card that's good just for in-house, a 10 class card just for kids yoga, a 10 class card just for live stream, and a monthly unlimited just for video on demand. Or if you wanted to, you could also create a yearly package that's good for all of them. So let me show you a little bit on how to do that. So let's go to the class listing. So in your class listing, you could only assign a single group to a class, right? So you can't say this class is in-house, also kid, also live stream, also video on demand. So all your classes will be assigned to one group. So if I look at this class, you don't have much of an option. When you click groups, you could only assign it to one group. So that's the first thing you want to consider. However, your packages could be assigned to many groups. So if I were to go to asset and then I'm looking at products, and I'm going to use the 50 class card now because we used it before. So if you look at your 50 class card, where it's an active group, right now, it's only valid for my regular yoga classes. If I wanted this 50 class card to be valid for live stream, I think I have online classes, that's the name of the group. I would select online classes and add that group. Right, so now the 50 class card is valid for both online classes and regular yoga classes. And you could add as many groups as you want. I'd like say, let's say beginners classes, and I want it to be good for bar as well. So okay. So you could add as many classes, as many groups as you want. Again, try not to make this too complicated because it just creates issues. Just think about it. If you need to talk to somebody, you could book me or just go online. We could kind of do a little bit of consulting with you. Obviously, just book us in and we'll be more than happy to spend the time to kind of help you structure this in a way that you like. Once you've created group, then you're set to go. So the one thing I want to mention, if you have a 50 class card, and let's say initially, in this example, initially this 50 class card was only good for your regular yoga classes. And you decided, oh, you know what, I am going to, I am going to add this to my online classes because I want everyone with 50 class card to have access to online classes. This changing the package will only change it moving forward. That means your students that purchased the previous 50 class card prior to you making this change will not have access to that online class, right? It's only anybody who buy the package after you make the change will automatically have access to that online class. However, you could manually change that for existing customers. So the way you would do that, if you go to asset and you go to student cards, and so now I'm look more menu, asset, not auto pay, student plans. Okay, so in your student plans, you notice that it'll show you plans. You could look at all active plan, expired, pending, suspended, and so on. So for this example, basically only your active plans are relevant because I'm going to assign groups to them. So you could search. So if I were to search, if I was to search by product, say I'm looking at my 50 class card and click on it, right? So at this case, I don't have any active. I probably have one pending because we sold one. So notice that it has one group. So if we were to look at 5 class card, let me see if we have any active 5 class card. Let me see. All products. Okay. So if I wanted to add a group, okay, let's just pick monthly auto pay. If I wanted to add a group to the monthly auto pay, no, this is just the regular yoga classes. So let me just see. I think, what was it called? Monthly. Too many products. Okay, it's cool. Daily auto pay. So I'm just gonna show you. If I wanted to add a group to all these products, right? So you could select your product. If not, you could decide to add a group to all of them. So we have a total of 13 plans. And let's say I wanted to add the group. You could just click groups, right? And then you could choose the group you want to add. So let's say I wanted to add video on demand, right, to all the groups. So if you select video on demand and then you click update 13 group, all your group will be given that video on demand. If you click for set group, right, and this is not something I recommend you do without prior knowledge of how it works, it will erase all the other group and only assign this group to them. Obviously, you could pick several groups here. So you could pick, basic restorative class. You could pick as many groups as you want. And then if you force set groups, it will erase all the current groups and assign it to this new group. But for now, all we want to do is add the video library. But we don't want to force anything. And so we click update groups, and then notice that it changed. Right now, all the groups now have the video library groups, right? So all of this get added. So it's not a hassle. You don't have to do it one by one. If you change the group, that's like we did for the 50 class card, and you wanted to assign it to everybody has a 50 class card, you will have to go to your asset, student plan, select your 50 class card. Again, this is a demo, so some things a little weird. Select your 50 class card and then pick the groups and then click groups and then select the groups that you want to add to do that. Okay. So this is basically the topics I wanted to cover in this webinar. Basic groups, groups, right? Class category, class type, and product category. Okay? So if there's any questions whatsoever, please ask now. I'll stay online for a little bit for any questions you may have. Yes, I know that the filter thing uh, didn't seem to work. It's probably something with the demo account. If you experience that issue, just let me know. We'll take a look at it. But and also the names are all different. Yeah, if you experience that, but it should normally be able to filter by name uh, and so on. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I forgot to mention that product category, you're right, is important because you could limit coupon by product category. So if you create a coupon, you could limit it based on product category. So that's the other advantage of creating product categories. So you could say a coupon is only good for a specific product category, um, and and that will help you limit coupon based on product category. So that's again another place to use product category that I didn't mention. Let me see. Yeah, no, we don't have a report that shows you sales by class category. We do have a report that shows you sales by class. Um, I'll make a note of that. Yes, this is not related, but yeah, to get to the schedule, you have to click. So it used to be there used to be a little icon next to your studio name and so on that you click on to get to the schedule. Right now, you have to click onto the schedule and that will bring you to the schedule. And notice that class listing, we used to call it class listing, now it's called edit classes. Workshop listing, also called edit workshop, are listed on the schedule page are no longer part of the settings. So if you go to dashboard and you go to settings, I know you don't see class listing on this menu anymore. That's because it's been moved to the schedule page. Um, yes. Oh, okay. Again, uh, groups and difficulty series are they're not related. Basically, series and difficulties have to do mainly with video on demand. You could create a series, assign different difficulties to different classes. So when people were searching your video library, they could look for a specific level of classes. Again, it's not related, and I don't. Uh, this is a really good question. When you do create a video, I am not sure you could assign it a category. Let me just kind of look at something. Yeah, videos basically you could assign it um, a group, instructor, uh, and so on, description, uh, but there's no, um, yeah, there's no class categories because technically not the same because yes, because you can't really, currently you can't embed videos onto your website because we have, because of bandwidth and various different aspects. So for now, you actually have to direct people to your video page. So and again, I know this is off topic a little bit, but I'm going to answer that some questions because we do have a little bit of time. So if I lag out, you have to direct people to your video page. So if I go to my video page, Yeah, you have to direct people to your video page, and you'll find the URL for your video page right at the very top of the screen. I'll wait a few more minutes in case you have questions, any more questions. Be happy to take them. Yes, we plan on doing a whole bunch more webinars. If you want to sign up for a webinar, just click and then sign up for our webinars right there. That will direct you to our webinar page. This is the one we did today. We're going to go more into website integration next time. We'll hopefully talk about the mobile app that's coming out and how to create video libraries and monetize them, how to improve attendance on your live stream, some workshop skill, creating marketing workflow with MailChimp. So there's tons of webinars scheduled throughout the year. So yes, you could just go there and book them. All right, so once the webinar is finished, we'll post a video on this same page so that you could take a look at it. Okay, so if there's no more questions, I want to say thank you for attending. Have a great day. Namaste.